Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about taking training advice from people who seem to need wraps or sleeves due to chronic pain in their joints or tendons. So let me put on my +5 out of weaponsmithing, work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. Alright, this is going to be a controversial video, and let's be honest here, because a lot of people who are out there on YouTube and who give advice wear sleeves. They wear knee wraps, all sorts of stuff due to pain they get in their joints. And the question that I would ask, let's just be frank here. People who are experiencing chronic pain and inflammation in their connective tissue or their joints from training, probably not the best people to get training advice from, because here's the thing. Training isn't supposed to do that. People who train correctly and their training is programmed correctly shouldn't be getting pain like that. If people are getting pain in their joints, their tendons, connective tissue, things like that on any sort of regular basis, or they're getting chronic inflammation, that will eventually lead to injuries. And usually if they're having to do that, something is going on that's wrong with their training. Either they're pushing themselves excessively without proper deloading, without proper training periodization in some way. That's usually a big cause of it. So they're pushing stuff excessively. They have some sort of muscle imbalance that's causing it, meaning knee pain can be caused by having weak hamstrings. People who are very quad dominant, who don't give their hamstrings enough work. They're not doing enough stuff for their whole posterior chain as opposed to the anterior chain. These are people who start to develop knee pain. This can be a problem. Same thing with elbow pain. If people are getting elbow pain and they seem to need elbow things to help keep them warm or to help with the pain, people need to stop and think about that. Why are their elbows hurting? Usually it's because they perform exercises for their triceps that are actually bad for their joints or bad for their connective tissue on these two heads down here of the tricep. So again, if you have people who are doing this who don't actually know how to train, and they're hurting themselves and jacking themselves up, is this really the advice you want to take? And, this is the sort of stuff that gets thrown at me all the time. People will use ad hominems against me, but here's the thing. These are cases of people actually harming themselves who are giving you training advice. And these are people who are using a Band-Aid fix for a bigger training issue, meaning they've got something wrong with their training, something wrong with their programming, with their muscle balance, with their technique on exercises that is causing chronic inflammation in their body that is problematic, and they don't actually know how to fix it, so they use a Band-Aid fix. Well, here's the thing. When it comes to some of these sleeves, for example, people use to keep things warm, let me ask you a simple question. How could they possibly keep your joints warm? Your body has a homeostasis in it. Your body temperature should be keeping your joints warm. And here's the other thing. If you were to raise the temperature by several degrees inside any part of your body, you do know that would harm it, right? If you were to actually cause a lot of extra warmth inside of a joint that's not supposed to be there, that can affect enzymes. That can actually kill cells and kill tissue. Fevers are dangerous. So in what world do people live in where they think that their joints need to be warmed? Now, furthermore, let me ask you another question. People say, well, my joints feel warmer with that on there. Well, okay. But in what world does a human body have temperature sensors inside the joints? What? Would I feel warmth around it? No, you don't. You feel warmth on the skin. You do not have temperature sensors inside your joints. They don't exist in the human body. They're on the skin. So the skin feels warmer on the outside. Well, of course the skin feels warmer on the outside. You're sweating into some neoprene sleeve that's over the skin. There's hot sweat all over it. Of course the skin sensors detect heat. Of course you feel warmer there. There's nothing to do with the joint. Furthermore, a lot of times these things, they get tight on there and they cut circulation off a little bit. Even the ones that aren't that tight, when you're bending the elbow, when you're doing different tricep stuff or presses, it puts tension on there and it cuts the circulation off. So it numbs it a little bit. You're numbing something that is causing you pain so that you don't feel the pain while doing it. Your body feels pain when you are training for a reason. Do you know what that pain means? Well, this should be common sense, but people in the training world get these weird ideas that pain is sometimes a good thing. Pain, physical pain, is your body's way of saying, hey, you stupid fucker, stop doing what you're doing. You're gonna fucking hurt me. Stop, you fucking idiot. That's what pain means. That's your body sending you a message to don't be fucking stupid and stop what you're doing. But people who seem to work out don't seem to get that message sometimes. That doesn't go through to them. Maybe because they really are stupid sometimes, I don't know. But that is your body's way of saying don't do something. It's not supposed to hurt. This whole concept of no pain, no gain is one of the worst ideas that's ever come out of the fitness world. Deadlifting 500 pounds actually shouldn't hurt. All right, so I'm not telling people not to push themselves or not to work hard, but if you're actually experiencing pain, you're damaging your body. And if you're chronically experiencing pain, the last thing you want to do is blunt pain that you're getting in training. Why? Because that pain is telling you you're doing something that's harming you. So you're going to put something over there that cuts circulation off a little bit to blunt that pain so that you can keep doing the thing that's hurting you without it hurting. Well, if you continually do something that's hurting you or causing pain in an area of the body and you keep doing it repeatedly, what happens? Well, it causes more inflammation. It can cause a buildup of scar tissue. It can cause calcification. It can cause problems around these tendons and things from you rubbing them the wrong way or putting them in positions that are causing excessive inflammation that hurts. Eventually, that's going to turn into chronic pain that's going to be in those areas for the rest of your life. You're going to get things like calcium deposits and scar tissue built up that is going to be painful for the rest of your life because you're not smart enough to realize that what you're doing is wrong. There are all sorts of ways that people do tricep extensions, for example, that cause inflammation in these tendons, yet people will keep doing them. And then they'll go to stuff like various sleeves because they'll hurt even when they press because the inflammation from the other exercises is staying. So then they hurt all the time when they're working. They put sleeves on them so that it can blunt the pain. Instead of just stopping doing the exercises that are hurting them, but these people don't know enough about biomechanics to know what's actually hurting them sometimes. And if they don't know what's hurting them, they're going to keep doing it. Well, what happens is you're going to eventually reach a state to where you have so much buildup of scar tissue and calcification and stuff that it's going to be painful for the rest of your life unless you go in and get all that surgically removed. It's going to hurt you the rest of your life because you're being stupid. Or you keep blunting doing pain on something that's compromising connective tissue in some way, and you keep doing it and finding ways to blunt the pain until it just snaps in the middle of training. That pain is there as a warning. It's there for a reason. The same thing with these knee wraps. Knee wraps actually damage your knee joints. So people use knee wraps to protect their knees. You see this all the time. Well, the knee wraps actually cause damage of the cartilage. They cause damage to the knees, and they cut off circulation. You cut off circulation, it blunts pain. So you can keep doing the stuff that's hurting you, but doing it using a device that actually harms you further, and then eventually guys have injuries. I'm not going to go into who it is, but one guy called me out on this and said I was wrong, and he knew all about injury prevention, and I'm going to hurt people. Yet that guy tore a hamstring a few weeks ago. Guy who wears knee wraps all the time and feels that they're an injury preventer. He just ripped his hamstring. People need to stop and think about this stuff. This is the people you're getting advice from, people who are hurting themselves, people who need wraps and sleeves because of the pain when they train. You sure you want to imitate what they're doing? Do you want to snap your shit up? Do you want torn triceps? Do you want torn hamstrings? Do you want chronic inflammation in your tendons that's going to hurt for the rest of your life? Is that really what you want? Because these people don't seem to know how to stop this stuff from happening. If they did, they wouldn't need to wrap everything up when they train. And it would be one thing if these guys were world-class lifters. I understand there are guys squatting over 600 pounds and deadlifting over 700 pounds and who are benching 475, 500 pounds. That there can be certain pain associated with lifting mind-boggling weights, and that some of these top athletes push themselves to the limits. But if you're deadlifting 500 pounds and you're squatting 400 pounds, or you only bench 275 for a few reps, and you're experiencing pain like this, you don't get the same excuse these ultra elite level lifters do. You're not lifting those sort of tonnages. And I see a lot of guys who are promoting stuff who do seem to need to wrap everything up, who aren't at that strength level. So why are they so busted up? They're busted up because they don't understand basic training programming. They use techniques and exercise selection that hurts them. They use things like knee wraps and don't understand that the knee wraps are actually injuring them over time, so of course they hurt. They do these things because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing, and then they just shrug it off as, well, training's supposed to hurt. Nagging injuries and minor injuries are just part of hard training. No, they're not. They're not supposed to be. They're part of improper training. Accidents do happen, and I get that, especially when you're lifting really heavy poundages. Yeah, accidents can happen, but these aren't accidents. These are chronic inflammation being induced by piss poor training methods. That's not what people should be imitating. That's not what people should be imitating. Don't imitate a bunch of stupid meatheads who are hurting themselves and injured all the time. Why do you want to do that? Don't do that, guys. Be very, very careful when it comes to listening to these guys unless you want to be busted up also. All right, just something to think about here. Stop and think about this. Most of you are out there training because you want to improve yourselves. I don't care what your motivations are. They don't matter. We train for our own reasons. We train for our own goals. Different people have different reasons for being in there, and that's fine. But I promise you, most of your goals are not to rip hamstrings, not to rip triceps, not to be in agonizing pain for the next 20 years, not to have joints and tendons that hurt every time you get out of bed. I'm pretty sure that's not in most people's goals who are training. I'm going to go out on a limb and say for the majority of people out there watching YouTube videos or getting training advice, that's not their actual goals. They have some other goals that involves either getting bigger, stronger, leaner, faster, looking a certain way. They've got positive goals. They don't have goals that involve, I want to fuck my body up and hurt all the time. I'm pretty sure that's not the reason most people get into training. But if you follow a lot of these people, that's going to be one of the side effects. That's going to be the end result. And if you're finding yourself needing to wrap stuff up, sleeves, wraps, things like that, because you're hurting when you're training, you might want to step back and really reassess what it is that you're doing before you fuck yourself up. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.